Hey, what's up guys? I gotta give you an update on my experience here trying to find a home base. I'm trying to find a place to live in the Dumaguete area. Not right in Dumaguete City. I kind of like the Valencia area. But here's the deal, guys. If you are thinking of coming to this area to check it out and maybe get a setup here like so many foreigners do, here's the challenge. The first thing is figuring out what area you like. Valencia, Bacong, Darwin, or Dumaguete City. And once you start looking around, for me, I find it to be only a few sections that I feel are going to be a good fit for me, that are in a good location, like proximity to things, how much traffic is right in that area, how loud that area is. You know, when you're looking at all the rental properties, some of them are complexes like apartments, some of them are homes. And I am realizing after 2.5 weeks that there is a lot of crappy rentals that I think most foreigners are not interested in. And when you're looking on Facebook Marketplace, they stay up for rent for quite a while. The good ones, however, and there are good ones, there are good places to live. The good ones are gone within minutes, or people are on waiting lists for the good ones. That's kind of how it works here. And I've already had it happen twice where I didn't even get to see it, but it seemed pretty good. And by the time I got to go and look at it, someone had already scooped it up. Like, they go that quick, they're gone. It's kind of a talking point around here when it comes to renting, like how difficult it is. Now, I'll say this, there's definitely stuff available here, and I know there are people that get into properties that maybe I wouldn't want to be in, but they are very happy in. And so it's completely subjective. So this is my opinion, and I would say a lot of people's opinions that I've been chatting with, but not everyone's opinion. If you're thinking of coming here, you might be able to find something right away because you don't care about some of the stuff that a lot of people tend to care about, a lot of foreigners. So with the waiting list that you have to deal with places that are getting scooped up before you can even look at it, there are some strategies. They're not ideal, but there's really only a few options if you're gonna come here and you want to find yourself in a good place long-term. Option number one is getting into a short-term, month-to-month kind of a place where you can live, and when the right place comes around, you are ready to pounce on it. And you literally have to be, you're either on a waiting list. I just met a guy at a complex that I really liked, but there's nothing available. It took him 6 months to get in. He was on a waiting list. And so if you do the short-term, month-to-month thing, the challenge with that is there's not a lot of those. There's not a lot of short-term options that are good or ideal or not crazy expensive or whatever. You can stay in hotels. I mean, there are Airbnbs, mostly in Dumaguete City. So that's another thing. A lot of guys don't want to be in Dumaguete City. It's loud, congested, traffic, but most of the options are down there. So when you want to get out of that and get into a place that's a little more quaint or peaceful or quiet, especially a place where, like where I'm staying right now, it's totally short term, and I can't even stay here month to month, even if I wanted to, because the way that this place is it's on Airbnb. So I'm here for a month, and then there might be another unit available next month, and then you got to switch over there. But then there'll be like a 2-week, there's nothing available, so you got to go in a hotel, then you come back here. So it's difficult to come to this place and just stay month to month and just wait it out. It's also 40,000 pesos per month, which is about 720 bucks a month. Whatever, short term, you got to expect to pay a little bit more. But the real problem is there's just no consistency here. I've had a few things fall through. I've also changed my mind on a couple of places that I was about to pull the trigger on, just because I was starting to feel like, man, I gotta get something. I want to just get in something and, you know, get rolling with things and moving on and not just house hunting the whole time. And I ended up just like changing my mind and backing out on both of them because, you know, you think about it, you sleep on it, and it's like, that's not where I want to be. There's very few options here. I'm going to be honest, very few options of places that I'm like, yeah, I would be very happy to live here. There's very few that I would get excited about. There's a good amount that I would be like, okay, yeah, this would be cool, and a whole bunch that I would not want to live in. That's kind of the best way to sum it up. I got to be patient. I got to wait it out, and I'm thinking about how I go about that. I don't even have a short-term, month-to-month option available right now. So, you know, I can bounce around. The whole point of me coming here and getting a home base and settling in was because I want to stop doing this, bouncing around. And this was my life for like so long, all my time in the Philippines, just bouncing around, trying to figure out where am I going next, what's going on. I want to just have that home base and focus on other stuff. And if I get a place, I will do a deep dive into my budget, into the setup and everything like that. This is just kind of an overview of the experience of coming to this area to try to get a freaking setup. And it's everybody. Like, I've talked to so many people. Some people get lucky. You can get lucky, you know, you can show up. I have a friend that I met here that he literally just like drove into a complex, kind of like I've done a bunch of times. I did another one of those drive-bys today, nothing available. And for him, he went to a complex. He liked it. He asked somebody. They literally just had an opening come up, like right then. And he's like, I'll take it. And he moved in and he's like, oh my God, this is perfect. So yeah, that can happen too. There's no doubt about it. But I think for most people, it's going to take a long time. Oh, another thing that people do is if you can't find the month to month, there are people that will try to get in like a 3-month or even a 6-month rental. That's not uncommon here. And that starts to open up a little bit more options. And then they're still looking because they're signing a lease, you know, shortish term lease on a place that they're not loving. So they keep looking and they're waiting. And I know somebody that did that, and he had, I think it was a little over a month overlap. So he paid double rent for over 1 month in order to secure the one that he really wanted when he came up. So that's another option too, you know, try to get in. I guess it would suck if you sign a 6-month lease and then 1 month later you find like the perfect place. But this is the dilemma here. Let me finish the video with this. This is why I feel it's worth it to, you know, stick around and not just give up. I mean, I've actually thought about it. It's like, well, shit, maybe I should try another area. But there's a reason why I came here. I want to see it through, at least, you know, for a little longer. It's only been 2.5 weeks. The reason why I think this is an awesome spot and it's worth waiting is because if you can get into that place that you love to live in. When I talk to guys that are here that are, you know, settled into that awesome spot, there is a vibe here as much as there's a reputation. And I know there is a negative side, but there's a negative side to everywhere. And there's people that are not cool everywhere. But for me, it's easily avoided. There's a lot of like good vibe people and groups and things happening in this area that I like. And I'm doing that as I'm house hunting. You know, I'm enjoying the area. I've met a ton of people that are into the same things that I'm into. You know, if you're into hiking and outdoors and healthy, there's a social scene here that is big enough that you can figure out what works for you. I think having foreigners to connect with and relate with, for me, it's a good thing. I know there's a lot of guys that don't want to be anywhere around foreigners when they come to the Philippines or anywhere else, and that's fine too. But if you have never done that, if you think that's what you want, and then you come here and you go off into the province and you stay in a place where there are no foreigners, and because that's what you think you want, it's very different, and it might not be what you're expecting. Until you go out there and experience that, I wouldn't assume that it's going to be the right fit for you. I know plenty of foreigners do that, especially if they're married and they're living in a small town and they're just hanging out with their girlfriend or wife and their family and friends. I think you can have an awesome quality life doing that. You have to be, you know, open-minded and very adaptable to, you know, not having certain things at your disposal, certain things that a lot of foreigners are accustomed to, that they want, which is why a lot of foreigners live in, you know, certain areas, because even like Dumaguete in this region, it's a much smaller city, but there's enough things here that cater to foreigners. Restaurants, awesome little coffee shops, bakeries with like European style bread, because of foreigners that have lived here for a while and they're opening up these places. So things start to develop to cater to foreigners, and that's why this area is as popular as it is. People don't want the big city. They want a smaller city that still has an airport, that still has a ferry port. You know, you can escape into nature easily that you can't do in Manila or Cebu City. I mean, within minutes, you can be hiking along a beautiful river, or you can be snorkeling in reef. You can take a little boat out to Apo Island, you can go to Siquijor. It ticks a lot of boxes for a lot of people. So that is why this area is popular. That is why I'm gonna continue to push to try to find my setup here. So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna make videos along the way just to help you know what to expect if you are thinking of coming out here, to either help you figure things out when you come to this area, or maybe knowing this, you don't even want to bother, you know, and that's fine too. Maybe you want to check out another area. I get it. The appeal to go to a place where, yeah, you don't have this high demand, and maybe it's up and coming, and maybe you get in before it blows up into something popular. Maybe it doesn't have the restaurants and the things that you are hoping it's gonna have, but maybe eventually it will, because more and more foreigners pour in. But maybe it'll take, 5 years, 10 years. Who knows? Anyways, guys, it's up to you. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your time. More to come on this subject and a bunch of other things that I have coming down the pipe that I want to share with you guys on my channel. So as always, thank you. I appreciate it. See you soon.